kick off. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're very welcome to Action Coach's Survive and Thrive video. We're here to help business owners across Ireland, and obviously there's a considerable amount of, I guess, uncertainty both in the economy and on the health side. And Action Coach is launching a series of webinars so that we can help you business owners out there to thrive and survive in this. So we're going to show you a short PowerPoint presentation. I'm joined by my colleague Des Ryan, one of our senior business coaches at Action Coach. And Des, if you would mind getting the PowerPoint up there, and we can.
Yeah, absolutely. You keep chatting away there. I'll bring it up. Yeah.
So as we go through this, ladies and gentlemen, what we're really going to be able to do is we're going to address what we think are 11 key areas that you should be looking at this point in time. Many of them you will probably already be considering or already have acted upon. So some of these things you may already have done. For others of you, it could be the first time you're seeing this. So just bear with us as we go through the 11 things. Even if you have implemented some of them, we're sure that you'll probably get some ideas from it that will just enhance what you've already done, or maybe give you a little more clarity on what you need to do next. The coronavirus is unprecedented. It's something that we haven't experienced in our lifetime. Most of us probably on this call have never experienced anything like this. And the situation is very, very fluid. It's changing on a daily basis. So our intention at Action Coach is to put support in place for you, the business owner, to make sure that you have got the right strategies in place to survive this, and that you also start working on the right strategies that you may need to put in place for your survival and then thrive when we come out of this. And coming out of this might be 2 months' time, it might be 3 months' time. It could be shorter depending on the business that you're in and depending on the business cycles. So without further ado, I'm just going to go into the presentation, which Des is going to start me on there. Des, I don't have control on the panel, Des. Okay, brilliant. So look, obviously, when we look at this one, we're looking at communication as step number one. And I'm going to just really quickly go through what the key areas that we need to talk to you about. I'm sure at this point, every single business in Ireland has communicated effectively with the team. And that's great. Some of you probably stopped working. Some of you have probably had to close your businesses, and some of you may be working remotely. But in terms of communication with your team, it's vitally important that you have daily communication with your team. Keep the calls going. We use at our business operation, we're using a Zoom call like this to stay in touch. It means people can see each other. We have a call at 9 o'clock every single day. We're able to talk to each other about different things that need to happen, and we're able to check in. So we're still part of a community. We're still part of a team, and everybody's getting updates on a daily basis and sharing experiences as what's happening out there in the economy, what's happening with our clients, what's happening with our customers. I know the most important area for all of us is our customers, and it's about staying in touch with our key customers and making sure that we are also communicating what we're doing in business, what we're doing to support them, and what we're doing to help them. We have wider networks, and we have our suppliers, our stakeholders, and we have our community. And really at this point in time, we need to start rallying behind each other and working together as a wider business community, supporting each other, businesses supporting each other. We will see that in the need to I guess, give custom to each other, as well as to allow time for payments. And it's really, really important that we start communicating effectively and on a daily basis, on a regular basis, with all our key stakeholders inside our operations. When it comes to step two, I think this goes without saying, but it's about remaining positive as much as we actually can remain positive. I think when you look at the media, you look at all the news, we're getting absolutely massive, fantastic updates from the various government departments and the critical health crisis, and sometimes that stuff can probably be overwhelming and can create that worry and that panic. The words of Captain Mannering from Dad's Army, he said, let's not panic here. Let's try and be positive as much as we can. Within the current crisis, it is very hard to find those silver linings. And I think the thing that we would say to all our clients and customers at this point in time is that this health crisis is going to pass. We haven't seen the worst. It hasn't really impacted on a health basis yet, but the numbers are increasing every single day, and we just have to live through this next period of time. It could be 3-4 months before we're out of that and before our business environment starts to look a bit like normal. So it's about being positive with yourself, most important, being positive with your friends, with your family, with your team, and just trying to maintain that. A little bit of humor every single day, but it is really, really positive, and really important for us to be positive. In all crises, there are opportunities, and there are certainly opportunities out there in the marketplace. It's kind of a bit funny looking at the rush for toilet paper. It reminds me of the Brennan's bread rush that we had last year during the snow. Was that 2 years ago? So as a business owner, what is the can I sell toilet paper for your business? McDonald's have this really, really well when they talk about what fries do you want with that? And for us, it's about looking for you to look in your business. What's your toilet paper concept? So just start thinking when this crisis is starting to flatten out and the recovery starts going into what else is it that you can sell, or what can you sell for your business? And don't forget that at this moment in time, it's about planning and preparing for when the crisis is over, and preparing that you can get your business back on track and move forward. It's really important to keep positive. We've been talking about that for the last couple of minutes, but the key piece for me here is perhaps listening to less news. Is really important. You get the key headlines, but please don't spend all day long looking at all that. So all the social media content, there's lots of stories going around. Some of the stories are accurate, some of them are not accurate, and sometimes we can take a lead from an inaccurate story, and it can scare us, it can scare our team, scare our family, and it's really, really important to probably turn off some of that news and not get totally immersed in it. During this time of crisis, it's up to you as the business owners to start leading your people. And Action Coach is here to help you as the leader to develop the skills and the necessary communication styles to be positive and to lead your people. So if I go on to step number 3, what we're looking at in terms of knowing the cycles, and this is a very interesting piece for us. We take a kind of an agricultural look at this, or a farming looking at it. There are 4 cycles on Mother Earth, and summer, autumn, winter, and spring. We have the fall in there, and I'm leaving the word in there. It's a very American word, but clearly we're falling off a cliff at the moment. Our economy is falling off a cliff at the moment, and I want to talk about that. For Ireland, we have been enjoying the fruits of a very nice economic period. Business has been doing quite well, and in many ways we've been in a summer and doing very nicely out of it. Our business cycle has fallen off a cliff. In the space of less than 2 or 3 weeks, we now find ourselves in completely unprecedented territory where it's very, very scary. We're all worried about will we have businesses at the end of this. We're worried about the welfare of our team, worrying about the welfare of our families, worrying about our cash flow, worrying about our customers, and everything is falling apart. And it's probably going to get worse before it's going to get better. We're going to experience winter, and it's just a question of how long a winter is going to be, and how long is the pain and the impact that the winter will have on us. I'm sure many of you listening in here are thinking about, in Ireland we can have 4 seasons in one day. So oftentimes we can see the snow and the rain and the ice, hailstones on a May summer's afternoon. So we are seeing winter here, and it's going to be in front of us for a little while. But the key thing and the key message for everybody out listening in today, and to share this message out with all your suppliers, your customers, your friends, your family, is this is also a springtime. It is literally spring outside the windows. If you look outside into your gardens, you'll see the daffodils are up. You'll see the bluebells starting to emerge out of the ground. You'll see the buds starting to come on the trees. And we genuinely are in spring. And we're also in spring for our business cycle here. With the COVID virus, we're also in a springtime. And what's really, really important for us is that in spring, most farmers, most gardeners know it's about tilling the land. It's about preparing it for the planting of new seeds so we can build new crops, so that in the autumn time, which is coming, we will have a harvest. And unless we are really positive about taking the opportunities that are needed today and over the next couple of weeks and months about planting seeds and preparing ourselves, we will not see the summer. And as a consequence, if we don't do it in the next couple of weeks and months, we won't have a harvest for the autumn. So we are now in spring. So let's all start thinking about what are the future opportunities that we need to plan for and to prepare ourselves, and use this time to prepare ourselves for the recovery. So if I can move on to step number 4, let's take a look at change, okay? We are in change times. It's about trying to manage the change and make sure that it doesn't blow our businesses up. Leading change is a very critical piece in terms of leading your team, leading your customers. Many businesses today have now participated in remote working. We are all today on a virtual call, and many businesses are now using working from home as necessity. And maybe that's the change for the future of our workforce, is that we allow a lot more of working from home and remote working. And there's a formula there that's the D times V plus F is greater than R. This is an action coach concept. It's called the change formula. And when we look at it, we're essentially saying that for change to happen, you need D, which is dissatisfaction, times vision. And both of those are in brackets. Plus F, which is first steps, is greater than R. Right now, the level of dissatisfaction amongst business owners in Ireland is extremely high. And our vision is probably not so good. In fact, it's probably very clouded and very dark and very scary. But for change to happen, you need a score of dissatisfaction and a score of vision in order for change to take place. The first steps is probably starting to engage in the planning process and in the preparing process and being the re-education process that you need to put yourselves through. In other words, go back into the springtime. And resistance, I very much doubt that there's resistance in the general marketplace that we need to change, and we need to look at how we do things. For some businesses, it may be changing what products or services you supply. Maybe the business model that you ran up to this crisis may not be fit for purpose when we start going into the recovery phase. We may need to look at delivery options. We may need to look at our pricing. We may need to look at staffing. But for change to happen, we need to embrace it. We need to lead it. We need to be prepared to break up what our previous business practices are. At Action Coach, just on our team call this morning, we're looking at our business model is changing. It's changing very, very rapidly. And we need to be able to break with the habits and the business model that we previously ran and look at how we can support businesses going forward into the future. So I want to talk to you about step number 5. And step number 5 is cutting back. Many of you have probably had cutbacks absolutely forced on you. We have clients whose businesses literally have closed. They could be in childcare, they could be in language schools, in tourism, hospitality businesses. Those businesses have had to absolutely close, and they've been very badly affected. We would have other businesses that are doing well at this moment in time, that they might be in food supply or supply of products and services that are absolutely necessary for the current economy. But the critical factor for you as the business owner and your team to understand is cash is king. So it's about cutting back on spending, and it's starting to look at, well, what can you do at this moment in time to protect your cash reserves? The critical piece that you're hearing, and we've resource sheets which we'll hand out at the end of the call and put up on our website, is the government have come in very positively behind this. They've engaged with the banks and asked the banks to provide support. Those supports range from, I guess, holidays on mortgage payments or loan repayments, perhaps extending credit. The revenue commissioners have come in with a number of strategies also to alleviate the cash flow problems for people. But the critical thing for all of you is to understand what's available to you, and to start the discussions with your bank or with revenue commissioners at this point in time, so that you can protect what cash that you do have. We're not saying, and it's a really critical message here, it's about postponing or slowing down the outflow of the payments, and everybody's going to be doing the same. So to protect your business, so your business is ready for the upturn, it's about cutting back now, making the contingencies now as a matter of urgency if you haven't already started it. The Action Coach team and the Q&A at the end of this, we'll be able to address some of those issues in more detail.
Paul, I might just jump in there if I can for a second.
Yes,
if anyone does have any queries or any questions, there is a function to be able to capture those questions now as we go through each of the steps, and we'll obviously get to them at the end.
Right.
So it's just, rather than you might forget them, if you think of it now, capture it now while it's fresh in your mind in the chat box, and we'll come back to it at the questions and answer session at the end.
That's brilliant, Des. Thank you for that. So if we go on to step number 6. Oh, sorry. Last one, most important one in terms of as a business, it's about continuing or starting to go back out there and start marketing again. You may not be able to do that today, and I'll make this message really, really clear. In crisis, most business owners will stop marketing, and there's a certain point in time when that makes sense, and then there's a certain point in time when it's absolutely critical to get back and start marketing and start rebuilding your business. And the timeline of that is very uncertain, but it is clear those that start the marketing earlier will do better. Those that wait till they think that the recovery is fully in play will be behind the curve. Just to share our experiences, back in 2011, we worked with a number of the large banks and with some government agencies to build out a number of seminars and workshops and business planning events. And those businesses that attended those in the early parts of 2012 and 2013 got ahead of the curve. So it is very important that this economy will start to recover, and that's the time to be able to call that and start marketing and going back out and selling. So if we go on to number 6, it's about extending credit. And I think this is going to be really, really critical as to how we support each other as business owners at this moment in time. We're all going to face the cash crunch. It's just very, very simple. If customers stop buying from us, our cash flow starts to dry up. When our cash flow starts to dry up, we can't pay our suppliers and our team wages and salaries and things like that. So credit is going to become very, very tight. I think government initiatives to get the banks to put in place some supports for businesses are really critical to help get the cash flow going. But if you haven't already done it, please start talking to your banks and talking to other lenders about facilities, working capital facilities to put in place so that you can survive this and move on to the thriving section. It's about looking at credit lines and credit cards, getting more of them if you can, but certainly be proactive today. This is the time to be proactive and to start planting the seeds for credit. Go get some new credit lines, get some new credit cards. You're probably going to have to give credit to your customers. You're probably going to have to allow, there's no question about that. You're going to have to allow customers time. You're going to have to work with them. Your customers are still going to be around when we get through this, and they're going to thank you for this, and they're going to remain lifelong customers. So please use that goodwill to sensibly support your own customer base. If it's possible, and if the funding is available from alternative lenders like companies such as Flender to refinance, then that's a good opportunity to actually start talking to those. And the sensible thing is to try and find the lowest or best finance rates available if finance is available to you. So extending credit, step number 6, is very, very important. And I'm going to talk to you about step number 7. Some of you have had this unfortunately. You've had no choice in this. Your business had to close down, and you've had to take some very tough decisions in relation to staff cuts and staff changes. And it's not easy, but the key thing, going back to point number 1 about communication, is talking to the team and seeing what are the options available. It's likely that there are government support for part-time, so people signing on. We know that they've announced their support for those affected, and we'll add on the resource at the end of this. But you know, most people are being forced to work from home or not come to the offices. In some cases, it might be possible to take vacation time to alleviate the cash flow side. But the reality of that one is most people don't have an option in relation to vacation time at the moment. So it's not about, that option doesn't really apply to us. All airports are being closed down and we're being very seriously advised not to travel anywhere. So in terms of making staff cuts, cutting back, it's probably one at a time, doing it by attrition. Maybe it's better to negotiate salary reductions and see how we can work with team, or how the team can work together, because the level of ownership, the level of collectivity that we're all in this together, the more we work together to support ourselves, the longer the recovery will be for us. And those conversations really need to be had. So if you haven't already done them, talk to the coaches later on, put some questions up, we'll answer them, but start talking to your team and making those conversations real. If we look at number 8 and the fact that we're having the call from home here today, most of us, when the schools shut down last week, we suddenly found ourselves, those of us that have parents and have young children, we suddenly found ourselves in that place. But it's probably not a new concept for many of us, the ability to take a laptop home and to dial into the company server and to work from home, managing email. A lot of us can do that. If your business hasn't already done that, then it's about exploring how can you get your team to reduce their travel, reduce their social mixing. Coming to work sometimes can be necessary, is necessary. In other cases, well, we need to be flexible. We need to change the model. The technology out there in terms of online conference calls, from the system we're using here today, which is Zoom. There's other products on the marketplace, ranging from your FaceTime all the way to other webinar technology. So it is possible to host meetings remotely and to get team reporting in. It will be critically about communication, how we communicate and stay in touch. Let's think about it. We're working normally, we may be working in different circumstances, but let's communicate effectively with our team. If you're not used to having team meetings, or you don't have team meetings on a regular basis because you're in an office and everybody's in the office, now is the time to start looking at planning how to host team meetings and get everybody up in the morning, onto a call, chatting, building that community, maintaining that. Remember, up to last week, we were all in offices together and we were shaking hands, we were interacting, we're having cups of coffee together, we're having lunch together. So just because we're working at home doesn't mean that we don't do any of that. Communication is going to be vitally important to ensure the welfare of the business, welfare of your team, and also your own welfare as business owners. Remember, this unfortunately could take months before we're on the other side of it. So working from home is now a new reality for us, and it may stay as a new way of the business model going forward when we come back to normal. If I look at step 9, it's about what can we do that's online? Can we do some of our products or services? Can we deliver? And already some of our clients are innovatively thinking about, and I'll give you an example, a client that's a bookshop. Clearly it's a retail where it has a high street presence and people come to the store to browse, to look at books and to purchase. This client is actually now starting to put up an online delivery. So here's a range of books, please order and we will deliver them safely to you. So online delivery may make sense for you, for your business. If it's possible to change, then please take a look at that. Some of our service providers may be, for example, in the medical profession or in the physiotherapy profession and the fitness profession, and they're running and hosting online classes or online assessments and online triage calls. So it's not that we can't, it's just that we haven't done it before. But with technology nowadays, it is very much possible to deliver our product and service on an online basis. So as much as possible, help people, reassure them that you're able to provide your product or service either by a physical delivery to their premises or to an online consultation, online class. We also have seen clients who have decided to run a delivery service for local elderly and at-risk people, so that they're providing delivery of food and other types of services with local phone numbers. So there's a lot of goodwill here, there's a lot of opportunity, And it's about you looking at, well, what can you do to continue delivering the product or service that you previously provided, but in a different methodology. So if we go into step number 10, and this one's important, we're not really sure when the time to start marketing and selling is, but the critical piece is marketing is probably critical in terms of communication with your customer base right now as to where things are at. And there will become a time when you're going to have to increase this. I'm not suggesting that that time is today. I'm suggesting that you're going to take a real close look at when do we need to start advertising and marketing our services again, so that we're able to benefit from the upturn that will come. For some of you in business right now at the moment, it's your absolute summertime, it's your dream time. So the more you market, the more you make your customer aware of your product or service, the better it is for you right now. In all cases, and please, we saw this back in 2010, 2011, most businesses just stopped marketing. And when you stopped marketing, then business starts to fall away. There's a time to absolutely increase marketing, and we will very much be advocates of that. The more that you need to do, the faster you'll get out of this. There are probably good opportunities in marketing to negotiate rates with different providers and to see if there's new ways or new offers that you can actually work on. We have a concept called the 5 Ways at Action Coach, and it's 5 ways to increase sales and profits. We'll be hosting a webinar on the 5 ways to increase sales and profits in the next week. So we'll send the links out. Please register on that 5 ways webinar, and please share it with your other customers and with businesses that you support or support you. It may be possible to get cash up front. We've already seen some clients are now changing the terms of how they do business with customers, and part of that is getting a part payment up front. And that secures work. It guarantees the customer that the work will be done. So get payments up front, and probably put in place payment plans, which are maybe on a weekly basis or monthly basis. But it's very much a positive way to look at things and change your business model, how you previously collected cash, and how you can survive. If I look at number 11, we talk about it being repeat businesses. And remember, your existing customers have always been your best customers and always will be. So what are you doing for them? How are you looking after them? How are you communicating with them? What deals or what offers are you putting in front of them to support them? That could be the credit that we talked about earlier, but it's very much about looking at your existing client base and making sure you're minding them. So calls into your top customers. We have a concept called 80-20 rule at Action Coach. And it's probably 80% of your revenue, 80% of your profit probably comes from 20% of your customers. So who are your top 20 customers? Who's your top 20% customers? And what are you doing to tell them and let them know that you're here to support them, and that you value their business, and that you reassure them that you're steady and solid in your business, and that you'll be here to support them through this crisis into the upturn that's coming. But it's about communicating very effectively with your existing customers and minding them. I'm sure they'll all appreciate a phone call coming in, just that you're just checking in to see how they are and to let them know that you're here to support them. A really important piece. If I go into number 12, taking a look at common sense, you know, the biggest piece for us is about over delivering on customer service. It's something we teach when we're running our customer service workshops, is about under promising and over delivering. And a lot of cases heretofore, people might, unfortunately, they might over promise and under deliver. So in the new environment, this is about absolutely over delivering on customer service. It's about going the extra mile. It's about doing extra stuff. We're going to see the community spirit starting to emerge very strongly. We've seen it already in terms of how communities are starting to support each other. And as business owners, this is the most important business community that we have. The business owners in Ireland, the small, medium-sized businesses create 70% or more of jobs and employment. So we're a critical piece of the economy. We're a critical piece of the backbone, and we will be a critical piece of the recovery. So make sure you do over deliver on customer service over the next while. Put your people first, put your employees first, put your team first. make sure that you're looking after not just your employee, but there's a family behind each of the people that come to work for you. So be very cognizant of that and take really good care. If you can get the hand sanitizer, if your office is still open, if your premise is still open, please have notices around and make sure that you're following the best possible guidelines from the HSE in terms of what you actually need to do, keeping distance, making the business possible to work remotely and to deliver that safe distance that we can communicate and operate effectively. And I think something that I hope we're getting right, I'm not really sure if we've gone into the manic stage, but we don't need to bulk buy. We don't need to go in today and go into a frenzy. There will be plenty of things, excuse me, I should have turned that off earlier. There will be plenty of opportunities for all of us. There's plenty of food, the supply chains are there. We don't need to buy too much. And being overly greedy at this point in time actually impacts on somebody else. 5 slice pans, you don't need 5 slice pans. 4 of them are going to go stale. So just do it nice and sensibly, and make sure you're considering others. The helping hands you put out today as a business or as a business owner or as a member of the community is going to pay you back in dividends in the future. So please have some common sense and show lots of compassion. And finally, just to finish off, it's going to be really critical to prepare you for the next 90 days. We're coming to the end of March. Normally with our clients, we would sit down every quarter and plan out the next quarter, a quarter being a 90-day period of time. And as we come to the end of March, we would have been sitting down with our clients to do that. And that's normally a face-to-face meeting. And unfortunately, we've had to postpone that. So we're now looking at options of how can we run planning sessions for clients remotely and get them the same 90-day plan, the same type of quality for the next 90 days. But this is a real critical message to you. You're going to have to start to plan this recovery. At Action Coach, we're going to run a series of webinars to support you, to give you the ideas, to give you access to tools that you can use to help you do that. The critical piece is to start thinking about planting the seeds. So plowing the land, digging the flower bed to plant the seeds in it so that you can have that recovery in the autumn and have that harvest. So your 90-day plan is something that you're going to have to start looking at very, very soon. Before I finish up, before we turn over to questions and answers, I want to take a pause for a minute here. I've gone through about 11 things. I know I've spoken very, very fast. It's been probably about 30 minutes of just quick tips and ideas. And I want you to take a look back over it on the notes perhaps that you've taken, and to list the top 5 things that you're going to take action on today. What do you need to do based on what we've been talking about that is going to help you inside in your business? So as you're jotting those down, we're going to move over to the Q&A section. And Des, I think you probably have a number of questions that you might want to post out there to us. So Des, I'll hand it over to you for a second.
Okay, that's fine, Paul. So let's go in and have a look at some of the chats, maybe the questions that have come up. Okay, not too many questions today. I suppose the one of the things I'd like to kind of mention, Paul, to come back to two other things. 2 of the areas, I suppose, the remote working and the marketing of your business. I think there's a great opportunity out there, and some of our clients fall into that category and those industries. I think there's great opportunities for us to be able to, support their businesses through our networks, because there are great businesses out there in those spheres who can definitely support some of our clients as well as other people who are also in the same position. And I can think of a couple there from, as I said, from a marketing perspective in particular, but also from a connectivity and being able to get people to share and work remotely.
Okay, so look, final piece to leave you with is we've opened up a number of support systems. We're going to be running a daily webinar in the morning and the afternoon. just in relation to, I guess, the current survival piece. So please share out these links with other clients of yours, with your fellow business owners, with your team. Make sure you're on these, just to get some perspective and to listen to support and advice. We're also developing a range of business tools to directly support you in the recovery. One of our coaches mentioned this morning on our coaching call about the need to prepare business owners for when that recovery comes about. And one of the key parts of that will probably be business education. Okay, it starts off with mindset, getting a positive mindset. We talked earlier about remaining calm and being positive, but you also need to build in new education or new knowledge to get your mindset right for the recovery, to deal with the current situation and the stress and dramas that it's going to unfold, but also prepare yourself for the future. So we're going to be sharing those out, and we'd ask you to pass them on to other business owners. I remember going back into 2009, 2010, when things were really bad. A lot of business owners didn't have the network or the support structures out there to bounce ideas off each other and to build a community of support. And unfortunately, during those times, there were a lot of business failures. There was a lot of stress with banking debt. And unfortunately, some of our colleagues, some of our business owners did not survive, because they couldn't see any hope and they couldn't see a way out of this. It's one of the reasons Action Coach is providing a number of health supports. We've opened up a web chat on our website. So there's a direct link on our website. It's Action Coach Ireland at actioncoach.com, and you'll see the web support there. So there'll be coaches manning that, and it's important for you to understand. You can ask any question. One of the coaches who'll be online at the time should be able to answer you, and if they're not, there's a panel of coaches both here in Ireland and abroad. We've over 1,000 coaches worldwide. There's bound to be one of us who knows an answer and can help you. So please remember that one of the causes of major stress is not asking for help, and we're really putting a message out here today. We're here to help. We've put in place a web chat line, we've put in place webinars, and we will develop the offerings as we see how the economy and the health situation unfolds over the next couple of weeks. So there's lots of help and support out there. So please ask for it. We're willing to provide our supports and our coaching experience over 20 years out to everybody. So with that said, we'll say goodbye. We've got another one of these coming up this afternoon at 3 o'clock. So please share out the links. Don't be afraid to ask us. There's no cost to asking us a question. We're doing this service as a free service to help business owners. So I'm going to say thank you, Des, for helping me facilitate the call and hosting it with me, for all your help and support. On behalf of Des and myself, Paul, thank you for listening to the call, and look forward to talking to you and helping you over the next couple of weeks. So main message is to be safe, mind yourselves, mind your family, mind your businesses, mind your customers, mind your teams, and we're all in this together. So let's survive